Tonight on Golden Eagles Live, we'll recap a big weekend in Clarion sports as the women's basketball team loses to Cal U but remains tied for the sixth and final playoff spot in the PSAC West. The men's basketball team lights up the Vulcans in dominating fashion, and the wrestling team gets shut out in their big showdown with Oklahoma State. Golden Eagles Live starts right now. And welcome to another edition of Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you, and joining me is our fearless leader here at CUTV Sports, our sports director, Alex Kozora. First time this semester. Alex, welcome.
This is sure to be awful, and I'm already managing because this is the first time I've been on the new set, and it's not my show. I've not got to do the show on my set.
Well, whose fault is that? First it was Mother Nature's, but then second was your fault.
Mostly you, just because that's who I prefer to blame for all my problems. But this is sure to be an awful experience. So that's not the best way to promote the show, but...
You're going to have fun by the end. You always do.
Let's just start.
Well, Alex, let's get to it. It was an awful experience for the for the wrestling team. Besides pre-match was fun, but seeing the 86 team being honored, but the match itself did not go so well as the wrestling team goes down hard to number 7 Oklahoma State, who were the defending runners-up against Penn State. 45-0 was the final. The only closest matches, Alex, that we saw was Tyler Benleon and Austin Matthews, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, no one expected a victory, and I just want to preface by saying how cool it is to have an Oklahoma State team, number 7 in the nation, come here. You don't see that very often in small Tippins, so it's just cool to see that in that atmosphere, even in a crushing defeat. But, you know, I thought you would at least get one victory out of it, maybe at least one, but unfortunately you get shut out. But still a couple good matches. The Benleon, the Matthews, even Daly at 285 was competitive for a little bit. But once you hit, after the Arthur and Matthews, you get in that 165 to before the heavyweight. Clarion has struggled there all year long against Oklahoma State. Just no match. The Cowboys had 8 ranked wrestlers, and they showed why they're the number 7 ranked team.
And exactly, and all those ranked wrestlers, Alex, are in the top 20 in their respective weight classes. Here's what Coach Letters had to say after the match.
We wanted our guys to fight for 7 minutes. And a guy that's, down in rank 20 or below is very small, depending on the attitude. We showed that here today. We wanted our guys.
So, interesting thoughts there from Coach Letters. Alex says he liked what he saw from the young guns. I mean, they've been doing well against some of the big boys, I so-call, of Division I. This was really the biggest loss that they've had, the worst loss that they've had like this, besides the rest of the matches getting shut out this year. So.
Yeah, they haven't been shut out, I think, since, I want to say it was 2008 or 2009 season to Indiana, the university, not IUP. So it's been a while, but it's against a solid team. It's a learning experience. Like you said, they're so young, so many freshmen, so much you can take away from by wrestling guys like that you said that were across the board the top-ranked guys in their class. I think they had 4 or 5 that were in the top, 4 or 5 in their weight class, and the 8 guys that were ranked, overall. So it's just what you take away from it. It's a learning experience. You learn from it, grow from it, and you become better because of it.
Absolutely, and they'll have more to learn as they face the defending champion Penn State Nittany Lions coming up on Sunday, and we'll preview that a little bit later on in the show. Next, we go to women's basketball. Alex is part of the triple header on Saturday at Tippin Gymnasium, a long day for us, as they went down to Cal U 66-53. And Alex, I think the number one storyline from this game was turnovers. 23 turnovers for Clarion in the loss to Cal U. And obviously, when you're going for that sixth and final playoff spot, turning the ball over is certainly not going to win you games here down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, you see on the highlights here, a player like Hanny Heater, another strong game, another double-double, but not enough. Like you said, turnovers is a big Achilles heel. We talked about it a lot last year. They've actually gotten better this year. I don't have a stat for it, but I know that they have been better and have turned the ball over less. But Cal, a very strong Vulcans team, that's capable of bringing in transfer players like a Caitlin Fratz, who played at UPJ last year, comes over and plays for the Vulcans now. A lot of talent on that team, so to no avail. a 13-point loss for Clarion.
And a lot of those turnovers came in the second half, Alex, and that propelled an 18-4 run by the Vulcans midway through the second half to put Clarion out of it, because Clarion was only down by 1 at half.
Yeah.
And they were right into it, but unfortunately the turnovers really killed them in the second half. And Emma Fickle and Hannah Heater, talking to them after the game, said the same thing. And speaking of Hannah Heater, herself, Damaris Miller, Kelly Johnson, and BJ Andrews all sweep the PSAC West Players and Freshman of the Week, respectively, which is a really cool thing to have for Clarion basketball.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time that's happened for Clarion or any PSAC school across the board. So well-deserved for Miller, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit, and Johnson and Heater. B.J. Andrews was kind of a surprise, considering he really didn't do a whole lot. I think
he hasn't really done a whole lot the last couple of times, but
yeah,
still.
he struggled the last couple of games, so I was surprised. I think they were probably just really searching for a freshman. But still, congrats to him, his 5th time of the year, so it's certainly not a fluke thing for B.J. Andrews. For a freshman, you had him on the show. Love talking to the guy. Very humble, team-first oriented kind of player, which is what you want to have in your freshman. And so he had a rough week, but still a worthy honor for him.
Yeah, B.J. Andrews coming off a 4.5 rebound performance and what was a big win, probably the best win of the year for the Golden Eagles and against Cal U. 91-74 was the final. And a game, Alex, where I was just astounded with how well Clarion shot the basketball. Well, both teams really, because coming into this match, you had these probably one of the worst shooting teams in all of the PSAC. Cal U coming into that game shooting only 39% as a team. Clarion just 38%. Both of them were in the 60s. Clarion 66% in the first half. They both went down to the 50s for the game, but still just an astounding win for Clarion against these Cal U Vulcans, who are having a down year, but still a great win.
From where this team was at early in the year, it's absolutely remarkable, Matt, that it's a team that in its first, I think, 10 or 15 games, only 3 times did they shoot 41% or better from the field, and then in 5 of the last 6, they've shot 41% or better. So a huge turnaround, because that was the biggest issue. And you can go into the X's and the O's and the details and the lineup changes like Coach Rader has done, but you just have not shot well all year long. You were sitting there near dead last in Division II. And now when you start to put together a couple good shooting nights and you get really hot, you can get victories. And like you said, Cal is not particularly strong, but of course Clarion is even weaker record-wise, and that's how you got the win over Slippery Rock too, that big overtime thriller. So it's very simple. It's not a whole lot of analysis needed, but when you shoot the ball well, you're going to have a better shot to win.
Yeah, definitely. And Damaris Miller led the way for Clarion, as you mentioned, Alex. 34 points on the night. That is the 3rd time that he's had at least 30 points this season. So Damaris Miller, and he was suffering a little bit of a cold streak in the last couple of games. He had 23 points in the loss against Seton Hill last Wednesday night. Then he comes back with 34 points against Cal U on Saturday. So Damaris Miller starting to heat up again for Clarion.
Yeah, he's the guy that can take control of a game when he heats up. He's very tough to stop, a great athlete, great leaper. I'm also a big fan of Anthony Baker. He doesn't play a whole lot, but when he does produce another excellent leaper, a guy that can go sky for rebounds and for second chance opportunities. And another player, which I'll talk about in our 3rd block, that I think has been the key to Clarion's success the last couple of games. And it's not Mike Romka, although he's been great, but another player. But that's a little teaser.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
For you.
Very good. Good segue. Well, coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live, we're going to move on to some of the issues of the week, including the 86 wrestling team being honored, and we'll have some women's basketball playoff talk, as it's getting interesting as we keep going through the last part of the regular season. Keep it right here on Golden Eagles Live. Welcome back to Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. I'm Matt Catrillo, your host, and joining me once again is Alex Kozora. Alex, let's get it back into a great day it was last Saturday at Tippin Gymnasium, starting with the wrestling match against Oklahoma State as they welcome back the 1986 wrestling team. Of course, got a huge win against those Oklahoma State Cowboys at Clarion faced 20-19 on December 1st of 1986. So they were honored before the match. A little nice, a little Clarion history to see that there.
Yeah, you like that gesture to bring back and you see it here real briefly, of the crowd that's on its feet, and that created that electric atmosphere of such a storied wrestling program, which it still is, but especially then when they were one of the top teams around and led by head coach Bob Bubb, who's really a legend, and not just Clarion history, but really wrestling coaching history just in general. I did appreciate during the break you said let's reminisce about the team. Unfortunately, we can't do that.
We weren't alive for that, but you know what I'm saying.
I was not born until 7 years after the '86 team, but still a nice gesture anyway.
That was also the year after my parents got married, so yeah.
Can you tell that story again? Because that was really interesting.
Oh,
I want to just make sure I catch it all.
Yeah. And never mind, we're not gonna.
Thank you. That was sarcasm the whole way through.
I'll spare you on that one, Alex. So let's go down to the women's basketball and some playoff talk around the PSAC as we go into the games on Wednesday night. UPJ still has that 5th spot. They are 6-7 in the PSAC West. Then it's Clarion and Mercyhurst still tied at 4-9 in the PSAC West, and then Seton Hill is just a half game behind Clarion and Mercyhurst at 4-10. And some of the matchups going on tomorrow besides Clarion, who's at Gannon on Wednesday night. IUP is going to take the trip down, up to I-79 rather, to Mercyhurst. And then Cal U goes down to face UPJ. And then UPJ plays Gannon on Saturday. So, Alex, if Clarion can find a way to win these next 2 games, and it's going to be very tough, starting with Gannon on Wednesday, I think they might be able to get that 5th spot in the PSAC West.
I mean, right now you're just looking for one of the seeds, the 5th or the 6th. I mean, you take anything you can get at this point. We'll see where it goes. There's still a whole lot of things that could happen. The combinations of how you make it and how you cannot make it. Again, I'll be very basic here of just keep winning your games, taking care of business. You do have Gannon coming up, which is extremely tough. So odds of winning that game aren't particularly good. But, hey, you never know. Maybe pull off the upset. I mean, this is the time to do it. This is the time it all has to come together because you're fighting for that spot. There's a lot of teams that are coming right with you.
Yeah, exactly. And Gannon just lost to Edinburgh by 10, and Edinburgh just took over first place in the PSAC West. Gannon only still with 2 losses on the year and 2 losses in the PSAC West. So it's going to be a tough game Wednesday, but I think Clarion can do it. We'll see what happens. Let's go down to some football talk, Alex, and a little bit of off-season talk and recruitment talk. First, your reaction to what Coach Foster said on Golden Eagles Live last week.
Well, I guess the biggest thing to take away from that was the situation with Darrell Carson, because there is a new quarterback, Connor Simmons, who had to be brought in because there really weren't too many other quarterbacks on the roster. So not going to call it a controversy, but whenever there's a new guy in the fold, you wonder what's going to happen. I thought Foster made the statement of Carson is our guy, that Simmons was brought in for competition. And I like that you make that decision now in spring ball because you got to figure out who your leader is. And competition can be healthy, but there is a point where you have to say, let's make a decision so everyone knows, especially at the quarterback position. And then the recruiting class, the names are slowly starting to trickle out. The biggest one that's intriguing to me is Damian Slyke. I think you talked about him with.
Yes, we did last week. Clarion High School.
He's getting converted to defensive back in all likelihood.
He said defensive back in all likelihood, but he's listed as an athlete for now. So he'll be interesting to see definitely in spring ball for sure.
Yeah, hopefully he can add some talent to that defensive secondary.
Yeah, it's definitely a secondary that is lacking and got picked apart a lot last year, especially against some of the big boys in the PSAC West. And finally, let's go to swimming and diving and PSAC championships this weekend down in York, PA. Alex, anybody on your radar in particular?
I just wish them all success and best of luck. They're led by a very good coach in Mark Van Dyke. Again, one of the consistent teams that are always successful. So, hey, good luck to them.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting weekend for them for sure. Hasn't been the best of years for both programs. The men are on a 3-game losing streak. Women's have lost 2 out of their last 3, but a couple people to keep in mind. Kristen Day, who swept both the 1 and 3 meter at YSU. I think she's going to have a terrific weekend. Colin Vest, one of the young stud freshmen, he also swept the 1 and 3 meters at Youngstown State a couple of weeks ago. And Heath Calhoun continues to lead the way for the Clarion swimming and diving team as he won the 3 meter and the loss at Pitt a couple of weeks ago. So I think those are a couple of divers to keep the lookout for. Coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live, it's time for our standout stars with myself and Alex Kozora next here on CUTV.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Tired of waiting till next summer to get your tan back? Then come on down to Total Body Tanning Center on Main Street. Fully equipped with 10 beds ranging from basic to the most powerful Star Power, 2 standing beds, and a vanity area. Total Body has everything you need to get that perfect tan. Choose from a wide array of lotions, body stickers, skinny wraps, and more. Total Body accepts $80, offers monthly specials, and even has a drawing for a free tan for one customer each week. So don't wait till next summer. Come on down to Total Body Tanning Center, located at 535 Main Street, right next to the county seat.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Welcome back to Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you alongside Alex Kozora. Time now for our standout stars for this weekend upcoming in Clarion Sports. Alex, who's on your radar?
So do I go all three, or do we switch off, or how does this work? I'm new.
You can go all three if you want
to.
Why not?
All right. As I teased before, men's basketball players who's had a big turnaround and a big reason to Clarion's success is Marcus Jones. Struggled again so mightily, just ice cold that first half of the season, even 2/3 of the season. Now he's up to 38% from the field. He's shooting 50% or better in all his games except this Cal game where it was 3 of 7 since January 25th. He's getting hot from three-point land. I think he's getting his confidence back. He's finally finding his shot, and that is a huge welcome addition because it wasn't just the fact that he wasn't putting up the major points, but he was missing so much that's a big reason why that offense had struggled so much, because he was just putting up shot after shot, a volume shooter, and they would not fall. So big ups to Marcus Jones for turning things around. Kelly Johnson, fairly obvious here, having one of the best freshman seasons, I think, of really any freshman in Clarion basketball history. It's right up there with Heater, statistically speaking, in terms of points. I think Heater will still ultimately be better because of the rebounds. But for a player who still said in the interview that we had last week that her hip will still bother her and she's still not really 100% to dominate the way that she does. I remember at last year's press conference when she was injured, Coach Parsons said she was a D1 talent, and she certainly is. My final one, Tyler Bedleon. Unfortunately, he lost. I believe it was the number 2, Anthony Kolika.
Yes, it was.
But a fantastic match. Really came back, got the crowd to their feet. He was the most exciting match of the day. Just lost. I think it was a reversal at the end.
It was in the waiting seconds. Like literally, it's a buzzer beater reversal.
He's a guy that hasn't had maybe the ideal season, but one of the leaders on the team, and a fantastic match. So big ups to Tyler Bedleon for creating the most excitement against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's the captain of the team, one of the 3 senior leaders that were honored a week ago against Cleveland State, so he certainly showed that, even though he lost in the waiting seconds.
What a way to go out, even in a loss.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
Your final match at home against the biggest opponent you'll ever wrestle, or right up there, I shouldn't say that, ever wrestle, but right up there, and to give the number 2 kid a big run for his money, awesome.
Yeah, Kelly Johnson too, Alex, certainly fairly obvious from the season she's had. And Marcus Jones, I think he's been a big reason why Clarion as a team has been shooting relatively hot. I mean, he's coming off a 5 of 6 performance of Seton Hill, comes in, he lights up and shoots his first 3 threes. Yeah, I think he had 5 or 6 in the game as well. So we did a really good job on Wednesday or Saturday night rather in the win against Cal U. So I definitely think he's been a big help for Clarion as of late. Aaron Johnson is going to be my first of my 3 standing out stars. Aaron Johnson's been starting to finally be the player that I think Clarion anticipated in having when they first got him from Princeton last year, because he's been bothered by injuries this year in the early part of the season, kind of slow to get things going, but he's been on a tear. He had 10 points, 14 rebounds, double-double in the loss at Seton Hill last week, 12.6 rebounds in the win against Cal U on Saturday night. So I think I'm going to put him as my standout star. I think he will be a big asset for Clarion as they continue to try and finish the season on a high note.
Yeah, and remember, Clarion still have a winning record at home in the men's team. They're 5-7 with 2 games to play. So if they obviously win their last 2, they still have 2 home games left against
Mercier State and Central Penn, the makeup game.
Then they become 7-7, and it's a lost season. It's a disappointing year, but you can still hang your hat on that.
And not only that, too, they still have a chance, if they were to lose out, to finish the 2nd straight 20 losing season in school history. And I'm sure they don't want to have that.
Yeah.
So if they can find a way to avoid that, I think that'd be a nice plus to end the season.
In a season like this, it's the little things that really count.
Yes, absolutely. And women's basketball, I'm going with Emma Fickle, as she's under 10 points away. She's almost there to tying Cheryl Bensick, who is the 10th all-time leading scorer in Clarion basketball history. So I think Emma obviously will probably get that with 4 games to go still to work with. And she's been the leading scorer this year for Clarion. She keeps them going in the shooting-wise. We know how dominant she is from beyond the arc. And I think she's going to be the go-to player on the court for Clarion if they're going to have any success, really, in trying to get that 6th and final playoff spot.
Yeah, against a tough team like Gannon, you want to be able to create those splash plays, and what better than the 3-point shooting threat that Emma Fickle is. So a daunting task, but that's a player that has to step up and have a huge game, 20 points, drain 5 or 6 threes to make it a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And my last standout star for you, Alex, is Kristen Day. I mentioned her in the last block. She's coming off the dominating performance against YSU, sweeping both the 1 and 3 meter races, and I think she'll be big. I think she'll do well at the PSAC championships this weekend.
Yeah, one of the better ones on the team, Matt.
Absolutely. Coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live, it's our game predictions for this week in Clarion Sports with myself and Alex Kozora. Next here on CUTV.
One of the best deals in town is now even better with your My Sheets card. From food to gas, you save on nearly everything at Sheets, and the deals don't stop there. Go online and find a full complement to the My Sheets card where you can get access to exclusive deals that are redeemable at all Sheets locations. Sign up is quick and easy, and the card also allows you to pay after you pump. Don't delay, head to the Clarion Sheets on East Main Street and get your My Sheets card today.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Back here on Golden Eagles Live, Matt Catrillo here with you alongside Alex Kozora. Time now for our game predictions for this week in Clarion Sports. Alex, let's first start with both the women's and men's basketball teams who have Gannon tomorrow night and then Mercyhurst on Sunday. Could be a big one for the women's team.
You want both? You want them all at once? Or
let's do women's first and
just
men's
women's. I say against Gannon, unfortunately, they will drop. Gannon, just a supreme club. They can do that full court press defense that really is giving Clarion a lot of headaches, especially coming off a 23 turnover game against Cal. For the men, I will also say that they will drop as well. Adam Blazik for Gannon, a fantastic player. So I say that the sweep happens up at Gannon.
Yeah, I agree with you too, Alex. I think both teams will lose that Gannon. I mean, the one thing that both Gannon teams have in common with, they both shoot the ball extremely well, especially the men's team. And as we mentioned too, the women's team just been dominating the PSAC all year. So yeah, I don't think either team gets the win either, especially when you have 23 turnovers. I mean, you just can't do that against some of the superior teams in the PSAC West. And Cal U, Gannon, and Edinburgh all have clinched playoff spots in the PSAC West. So. Yeah. You can't do that against those teams for sure. So I agree with you there. But Mercyhurst, I think both the men and the women will sweep. I'm going for it here. One of my bold predictions here.
Bold predictions.
Absolutely. I think the men have been, as you mentioned in the last block, Alex, they've been playing well at home. They got a chance to finish 500 on the year. I think they'll realize that. Want to finish off strong. They beat Mercyhurst pretty handily last year. We all remember that famous game. When Marcus Jones went off, actually, we talked about him all show long. So I think it'll be a good showing for both Clarion teams against Mercyhurst. Plus, it could be, depending on what Mercyhurst does against IUP, it'll be a big, could be for the playoff spot for sure.
I'm going to keep this short because you used all the words in the world, so I'm going to give you 3. Regrettably, I agree. And I say regrettably because it's agreeing with you, nothing against the basketball team. So regrettably, I agree. Sweep.
Good. There we go. Wrestling at Penn State.
It's exciting, and they'll probably lose again because Penn State's just as good as Oklahoma State, if not better. You talk about the top wrestling schools in Division I. It's Iowa, it's Penn State, it's Oklahoma State. But maybe you get one win. Maybe Bedleon is finally able to get over that hump and he gets a victory. And I had heard, I can't confirm this for sure, but Penn State could be coming to Tippin next year for a wrestling match. So that'd be pretty cool.
Well, I can't imagine what the atmosphere would be like there. Because I know there's a lot of Penn State fans here on campus as well. A lot of people have family go to Penn State.
And State College not too far away.
Yeah, absolutely. Only about an hour and a half. I agree with you, Alex. I think we'll see at least one win from Clarion, but I think they will ultimately lose to Penn State because Penn State, again, is the defending national champion. Next we go men's and women's swimming and diving at the PSAC championships.
I said they both do fairly well. Maybe no first place for each team, but nothing bottom of the barrel too. So middle of the pack for each squad league. So they have struggled the last couple meets.
Yes, I agree. Middle of the pack team-wise, but I think some of the divers I mentioned, Kristen Day, Colin Vest, Keith Calhoun, all will shine for Clarion. And finally, the women's track team is at the Kent State Last Chance meet. So, Alex, last chance words right here.
Huh. Wordplay. Good luck to them as well. I just wish that the Clarion would come here for a couple of meets. They're never at home for a meet, and that would be kind of cool to see. Because
it would be nice to see.
They
have the facilities down at the stadium.
You kind of get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, they have high school events there.
Right. I think Clarion High School plays there.
Yeah, it gets lost in the shuffle because they're always on the road. They're never here, and people can't come out and watch them. But good luck to them at Kent State. Be safe on the roads.
Yeah, I think the team will do fairly well. I think they'll be towards the top, maybe top 5, I think, finish. We'll see from them. Megan Toddy, as always, she has been doing fairly well this season, finishing off her senior year strong. A nice last chance for her to finish her career off strong here at Clarion.
Stop it.
You can blame Anthony Fuser for that one. And also, too, Katie Chambers.
Yeah, she won. What event did she win?
She's been a sleeper this year for them.
Yeah, she just won whatever event she ran. She came in first.
And she qualified for PSACs as well.
Congrats to her.
Yeah, she's someone that kind of slipped under the radar a little bit. We always talk about girls like Megan Toddy, Kristen Belko. So I think you'll see a big weekend from Katie Chambers.
Remember, she tore her ACL last year and has come back like a champ.
Right.
So congrats to her. Not easy.
So, well, it should be an interesting week in Clarion sports for sure, Alex. Hopefully, we'll be talking about the Golden Eagles getting that 6th and final playoff spot or another step towards it, with it going 1-1 here.
Hopefully you and Fuse will never ever call again, because I heard some of the wordplay that you guys had and not happy with it.
We enjoyed it. We always have a good time.
I know. It was really a big mistake to put you guys on there. Just a shameless plug. The Oklahoma State match is on CUTV's YouTube channel. Just type in CUTV the Nest, all one word, in the search bar, and it'll be the first thing that comes up. And the basketball game should be on next day or two. And obviously you want to check out the men's, the big win over Cal.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great work again by all of our CUTV sports crew. That was a long day that we had on Saturday.
And you tried to claim that you were doing things.
I was doing things.
You didn't do a thing. You got to do the fun stuff. You got to call the games and do interviews. And that was all the things that you did.
I did some dirty work.
You know what dirty work? Name me one.
I was a runner for the women's game.
You didn't do any. You didn't have to run. You weren't have to run. Oh, you didn't have to run. It was halftime when you had the camera batteries. And I made you do graphics, change the scoreboard for like 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So
you can't walk away. It's like going to war and be like, yeah, I was the cook when you're standing next to a guy that was on the front lines.
On that note, that's going to do it here for our edition of Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Make sure you tune in every Tuesday night at 7:40 and tomorrow at 7:40. Make sure you tune in for the semester premiere of OTB with this guy right here and myself. Actually, I'll be on tomorrow as the guest. We're switching roles tomorrow, so going to be good quality television. Make sure you stay tuned for that. That'll do it here once again from our CUTV studios. I'm Matt Cottrell, along with Alex Kozora and the rest of our CUTV sports crew. Have an Eagle-tastic night, everybody.